started on your cue. All right, everybody, I want to thank everybody for coming here tonight. First thing on the agenda is roll call. Well, let me just say that the City of Cotulla Council will meet for a regular meeting on Thursday, January 12th, 2023 at 7 p.m. at the Alexander Convention Center, Conference Room 290, North IH-35 Road, Cotulla, Texas. This is an open meeting subject to open meeting laws of the state of Texas. Everybody's here. Councilman, thank you all for coming in. So it looks like everybody's here. And will everybody please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Citizens to be heard. City Council cannot discuss any pressing issue, nor may any action be taken on any given issue at this time. Ms. City Secretary, is there any citizens to be heard? Okay, before we get started, what we're trying to do is just make sure that we don't repeat ourselves. So if everybody has a different issue, it looks like there's only 3 people, so Ms. City Secretary, if we could put a time of 3 minutes. So the first one on citizens to be heard is Ms. Elvira Gonzalez. Is she here?
Melissa's gonna go first.
Okay, Ms. Melissa Gonzalez then. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to make a statement this evening. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. First and foremost, we are most appreciative and grateful the community of Gardendale now has water. It was a difficult time for the citizens of Gardendale, especially for the elderly and children. I can personally speak to my mother's situation, as she recently had knee surgery, and it has been extremely difficult for her to move around and not have water easily accessible. Let us keep in mind water is essential to life and health, as we all should be entitled to good, clean, safe drinking water as per the Safe Drinking Water Act of 1974. Good public service is key to having its citizens trust that their government and administrative staff will do the right thing. That was not the case this past week. For some of you, to allow personal bias to come between your responsibilities as a public servant is unacceptable. To ignore taking calls and failing to communicate with individuals because of your personal bias with them is childish. This attitude trickled down to other staff as well. There is no place for foolishness when it comes to an emergency situation. Keeping the Gardendale Water Supply Corporation in the dark and not communicating with them was very unprofessional. The leadership in this city failed to handle this emergency situation to the best of their ability. It concerns me that management can make drastic decisions regarding contract matters without the governing bodies, the City Council that is, consent or official action. For example, advising TCEQ that you were no longer responsible for the maintenance of the Gardendale water plant, pulling all the city's signage from the fence at the water plant, turning away customers who wanted to pay their bill without an explanation. This was all done before any official action from the City Council. I would like to stress that this is a City Council form of government in a Type A general law city and not a city manager form of government, as per the city ordinances of this city. It is not about one individual attempting to exert his power or authority over a critical situation. We look to the City Council for their guidance and representation of their constituents. I would like to see the City Council be empowered by their ability to make a difference in their community through their form of governing. This involves expressing your concerns, decisions, discussions, and recommendations represented through the eyes of the citizens you represent, and having the issues placed on the agenda for an open meeting, not only through one individual's perspective who has his own personal agenda and ambitions with this city. Lastly, I would like to ask that the City Council pay for the pump well repairs in full, take any needed bacteriological samples, and have them cleared. If the City Council decides to terminate the contract and turn over the water plant maintenance back to the Gardendale Water Supply Corporation, we would like to see it in complete working order. The City of Cotulla has retained all water revenues from the Gardendale Water Supply for the 3 years and it should have received enough revenue to cover the cost.
Miss-
After all, there is an
Miss,
item
my
on
name
the
is
agenda.
Patrick Lindner. I'm the attorney for the city this evening in place of Mr. Pena, and the 3 minutes allowed for public comment have expired.
I only have 3 more sentences. If somebody wants to yield their time,
I can yield my time.
3 more sentences, go ahead.
thank you so much. The city has received the revenues for the cost. After all, there is an item on the agenda. I'm sorry. The city of Cotulla has retained all water revenues from Gardendale Water Plant for the past 3 years, and it's approximately about $90,000, and it should have been enough to cover the cost of the repairs. After all, there is an item on the agenda to purchase real property for $245,000. I believe it can easily cover the cost for the Gardendale Water Plant repairs. Gardendale would like to extend its thanks to LaSalle County for stepping up and providing Gardendale with a temporary resolve by giving them bottled water and filling the storage tank with water. Thank you for your time, and we pray the city council will make the right decision, and we stay as a united community who embraces their neighbors in a time of need. Thank you so much for allowing me that extra time.
You're welcome. Elvira, would you, no? Ms. Nora Flores?
I just want to say that everybody at the city was told to refer to me and to Frankie, and we had no idea what was up because we never got any kind of notifications, any kind of letters, nothing in the mail that said, okay, city's not going to operate the well anymore. So everybody in Gardendale was looking to us, and we had no idea. So I just want everybody to know that it just kind of just took us by surprise, and we are in this situation because I had no idea what was happening. Frankie didn't know. None of the board members knew that this was going to happen, and that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank you for being here with us tonight. I want to thank you all for your statements, and thank you all for being here again. We're moving on to departmental and committee reports. Let's go with code compliance.
Good evening, Councilman, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Dovalina. In my report on the properties notified on the first warnings, I have 6 current properties that were notified in reference to certain violations. As you can see, everything mostly from the high grass, trash, and rubbish, and one of them being a nuisance declared in reference to junk vehicles. I'll give you time to look at that if there's any questions regarding any of those. The second warning letters, I only had one property that I followed up on that needed that letter sent. And then the following properties were in compliance as listed there. Again, another good response from the citizens regarding taking attention to the properties and maintaining and getting those in compliance and getting those property clean and cleared. I do have 3 demolishes pending, 2 of those being from the previous list that was on the submitted to the city council sometime back, and then the other one on 1302 Live Oak Street. That's all I have currently. If there's any questions.
I have 2 questions for you, sir. I'd like to know, have you ever had any citations or anything gone to the municipal court when you've been here?
Citations, I have 2, 3,
That has gone through municipal court?
yes.
And do you happen to have the status on some streetlights here in Cotulla?
Once I make the submission and AEP gets the request, they review it based on their criteria, and I won't hear anything from them. As I previously mentioned on one of my last reports sometime back, those were submitted. AEP sends me an email that they received the information and that their technicians, and not necessarily the ones that are responsible for our area, but other persons within their scope of their responsibilities, come out and do the assessment. And if they do approve it, I won't know till
Do Do you do a follow-up on that, or you wait until they
There's no way to know that, and as I've kept in touch with like Mr. Lambert and the other technician, you just don't know until they get the orders, if they even get those orders.
The reason I'm saying is because I believe it's about a month ago, I told you about a certain light for an elderly that lives in this neighborhood.
Yes, there was a particular neighborhood, say, I'll give you the example, as far back as November, like Girard and Second Street or
That
wherever.
is correct.
Again, the email, submit the request, they look at it based on the existing pole that was there, and then they in turn send their technician or whoever it is, come and do an assessment, and if it does get approved by them, you still have to wait till they order the equipment or whatever it is that they need in order to facilitate that light.
Do me a favor anyway, just do a follow-up on that security light for that elderly lady that lives in that area. Even though I know it's a process because the engineer is going to be involved and all that, but just do a follow-up on that, please.
I can certainly try, but again, I've been told it's just a process and there's no way to know until.
Even though you're trying, but you have it documented in case.
I follow up with on the reply email.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. No more other questions.
Any other questions for Mr. Garcia, Councilman?
Not at this time.
No.
Mr. Garcia, thank you very much. Next is water. Water and wastewater. Jimmy, thank you for being here, Jimmy.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and Mr. Dovalina. For the month of December, the aquifer is sitting at 532. We had 27,916,000 gallons of water used. The daily demand was 900,516. That's pretty much it on the water. As y'all,
I have a question on that, if you don't mind. You mentioned 532 on the level.
Yes.
What stage is that right now?
that was we're still in stage 2 of
Stage
the
two?
water restrictions.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
As y'all know, we did have a problem with the Gardendale water well. We were in contact with Peerless on Sunday, but they were unable to make it. So they told us they would be here on Monday, late Monday afternoon. And I spoke with the gentleman there, and so did Mr. Wright. They were going to work as late as they could, and then come back Tuesday and finish pulling the pump out. So they did that. They ordered the pump, and they got it in last night. And I was there till 3 o'clock this morning until they got the service restored. I did tell some of the residents from Gardendale that I wasn't leaving until the service was up and running. We did run into some issues that when I said it would be a few hours, those issues were a little bit longer than a few hours than expected. You know, whenever we're working with stuff like that, you run into obstacles, and we got to try to work our way around them. But we did get the water back up and running early this morning.
I got a question before you go any further on that one, sir. Can you tell me more likely what kind of problem it had? I know it was a pump and some rods.
It wasn't producing the gallons that it was supposed to be producing. That pump was to produce 150 gallons a minute, and when it went out, it was we noticed it started going down in production, and then when it finally did go out, it was ranging right around 30 gallons per minute. So that's where it was. They were able to have some water, but not a lot. And like I said, when we contacted Peerless on Sunday, they weren't able to make it. So
How many feet is it on that well right now?
right now, it was at 6. The water level was at 624. The pump was set at 690, and then we went ahead and lowered it an extra 40 feet. So now instead of pumping 150 gallons, it's pumping 134 gallons because
Okay,
we went
thank
down the extra 40 feet.
Thank you.
I do have some emails that I would like to share with y'all from our attorney to Gardendale's attorney. And this one was dated Wednesday, September 21st, 2022 at 5:38 p.m. It says, Stephen, I am a bit tardy getting this notice to you, but the city has indicated they do not want to continue the current operating arrangements with Gardendale Water Supply District past the end of September 2022. If there is some indication your client will move on the accusations, the city will likely respond to its position. After budget season is over, the city intends to take official action on its current operating agreement, which I believe has expired. Gardendale Water Supply Corporation should address, even if they decide not to go with the city's proposal as we left it. Gardendale Water Supply Corporation has concerns on the purchase agreement, which I asked to be put in writing. If they will let us know what they want, I can address the city. And that was from Mr. Stephen Pena. And that was on September 21st, 2022.
And what is the attorney's name for the Gardendale, please?
Stephen Hall.
Okay,
Sorry.
thank you.
And then on November 24th, 2022, this was at 7:22 a.m. Again, from our attorney, Stephen Pena. Dear Stephen, I received a phone call this morning from City Manager Larry Dovalina and Utility Director David Wright. The officials told me the Gardendale Water Supply Corporation generates about $2,700 per month in gross revenues, or about $32,400 per year. The City of Cotulla ratepayers have absorbed these prices as Gardendale Water Supply Corporation customers have not had their rates adjusted. I am informed that the system does not have a licensed water operator, which I believe is how the city got involved with them in the first place to comply with TCEQ operation regulations. The Wells pump is nearing the end of its useful life and will probably fail in the near future. The water storage tank has been recently repaired by the city and will need to be replaced. The Gardendale Water Supply Corporation does not generate sufficient surplus revenue to cover operating costs and repairs. It is a matter of time before the system-wide failure will occur. If the system fails, TCQ will get involved and will encourage the board turn over its operations to a qualified operator. I am assured that operating the system is not a money maker for the city. Yet the city wants to help its neighbors and fellow county residents. I suggested that the city arrange a meeting with you and the board members at City Hall to discuss these matters before the city walks away completely. The city previously gave Gardendale Water Supply Corporation until the end of September to reply to the city's offer to purchase the system. The deadline has long since passed. I will be in Cotulla next Thursday if you want to meet. If another date works better, let me know. I have attached basic utility records for your review. More detailed financials can be provided if needed.
I got a question.
Yes,
On
sir.
September 2022, that Stephen Hall, which is the attorney that represents Gardendale,
Yes, sir.
he notified the city attorney, Steve Pena, that we were no longer going to be representing the
No, sir.
Gardendale.
Stephen Pena was the one that
Okay.
notified Stephen Hall. These were all from Stephen Pena.
Stephen Pena.
Yes, sir. And then on November 25th, Friday, November 25th, at 6:48, Stephen Hall, Gardendale's attorney, reached out to our attorney, Stephen Pena. And he put, "Thank you, Stephen. Sorry I didn't reply earlier. Your email was caught in my spam filter. I will visit with our client. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving." And then the same day, At 6:56, our attorney replied, "I had a great Thanksgiving. Hope you did as well. Look forward to hearing from your client."
So
And
that
those-
Stephen Hall attorney knew about the situation
Yes, sir.
in advance, that the city of Cotulla was gonna give back the water system or the contract, whatever they did,
Yes, sir.
about 2-3 years ago. Is that what I'm hearing?
It was in September.
September of 2022?
Yes.
Last year.
Yes. So whose responsibility would it be to notify the people of Garndale that this was happening?
The attorneys.
It would be the attorney to the board.
Which
The
is the
Garndale
board? The board of Garndale?
Yes, sir.
So somewhere in there, somebody dropped the ball.
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, the emails don't lie. Our city attorney did reach out to Gardendale's attorney, and like he said, it was in his spam filter. So, I mean, that's not our fault at all, or our city attorney's fault.
So what you're saying, all the burden falls on the Garndale city attorney, the Garndale.
Yes, sir.
Jimmy, what was the total cost of the repairs and the new pump and everything that went into the new system for Gardendale?
So far, right now, the pump was at $26,000. We're still waiting on the final bill as far as the labor to install the extra joints of pipe that we replaced because some of it was bad. So roughly, I'd say maybe about $40,000, give or take.
How many joints were added to?
There were 2 joints added, but they ended up replacing 10 or 12 of them due to on the threads. It was real thin, and if they were to put it back in, it would leak, and we'll be right back in the same situation, just about.
So that well, you would say that it would almost be renewed? Is that what?
Right now, pretty much, yes, sir.
And it would last at least, what, 5, 10 years, 15?
It could, just as long as there's no lightning. Lightning is
Yeah,
is bad on submersible pumps.
yes, it is.
This is all I have on the water. If there's any more questions.
Here for the Cotulla area, I know that you all had some major breaks. How's that status on that?
As soon as we get the major breaks, the guys go out and they repair them. So far, I mean, as soon as they happen, we're there to repair them.
Okay, but so far everything's repaired right now, up to date.
Yes, sir.
Okay, appreciate that.
No problem.
When was that Stephen Hall attorney for Gardendale, was he hired? What date and roughly what year?
I
We
wouldn't know.
don't, we wouldn't know that.
We don't know. Okay.
What would you say the total cost for the city of Cotulla going over to take care and all the maintenance and all the work to keep operating the water system of Gardendale per month? What do you think we would spend, or per year? What do you think we have spent on that?
Per year.
Because I understand that the system only collects around the neighborhood of 32,000, just a little bit over 32,000 a year. What does it take to operate it, in other words?
It would be a little bit more. I'd say maybe close to double, because I know the electricity is a big chunk of that bill. I think the electricity bill is like $2,000 a month. If I'm not
It's
mistaken.
been calculated at $44,000 a year.
Excellent. Councilman, any other questions for Mr. Jimmy?
I just got one more, and maybe David wants to brief you up on also on this one. What do you think about the storage tank for that water for the Gardendale?
It's going to need some.
Repairs.
It needs to be replaced. Bottom line,
How many gallons is that tank?
50,000 gallons.
Jimmy, what is the more or less the figure of the total cost on that tank? A new installment, the cost.
I can probably speak on that because I've gotten quotes on a $50,000 gallon tank, and they were running around $100,000 to $120,000 a year ago. So being with inflation and all that, it's probably up in the $150,000, $160,000 range. And that would be for a welded tank of good quality, not something that's just bolted together and manufactured.
Thank you, Dave.
No further questions from me. Thank you.
Well, on that note, Jimmy, before you step down, I just want to say that the city of Cotulla did what we could under the circumstances that we didn't know that the system had failed. And I didn't get word till around Sunday night or even Monday morning. And under the same circumstances, I want to say that I think we acted as fast as we could. So I want to thank whoever was part of it. David, I know you stayed 24/7 picking up calls. I know you did too, and you stayed until the repair was done, till what, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, sir.
So I hope that everybody from Gardendale, we didn't mean for this to happen. We didn't know when that pump was going to fail, but all we wanted to do is help. And I think that by repairing it and doing the job we did, I think, and I hope that we did quite a bit at no cost to the citizens of Gardendale. So I hope they appreciate what we did, and we got water as fast as we could to you, and we acted as fast as we could. And I just want to thank all of you guys who put in an effort to getting this job done. Councilman, any other questions for Mr. Jimmy?
No, sir.
Jimmy, wastewater?
Yes, sir. On the wastewater, I really don't have very much other than to report that the contractors have begun excavating on the sewer line running from the airport down to
624?
Yes, sir, 624. So they started already, and they're moving along.
Are they gonna cross from one side of the road to the other side?
Yes, sir.
At one point?
Yes, sir.
Is that where the school has their bus barn? Because I saw some excavators there on the opposite side of the road.
I believe so, and I know they were gonna start more or less right around they started over by the prison, so they're working their way back down. So, and if I remember correctly, it's gonna be right somewhere in that area.
Okay. I've just got one question for your facility. How's the status on that, on the maintenance on the beds and all that?
Well, we're keeping up with the maintenance on it.
Okay, that's good.
So that's, we make sure that, I mean, we do our best with what we have, so,
Okay,
I mean, we're keeping up with it.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Jimmy, what is your status on your vehicles at this time?
I'm sorry?
Your status on your vehicles? at
On
this
our
time?
vehicles?
Yes, sir.
We have enough vehicles, I know just maybe every once in a while we'll be short of truck, but, I mean, we're pretty good as far as the vehicles go.
Talking about vehicles, I think I mentioned last meeting regards of strobe lights on all vehicles. What's the status on that?
We're trying to get a part to make it fit.
Okay, that's for all departments, am I correct?
The problem is that the Ford trucks are made out of aluminum and not steel, so the
No magnet.
strobe lights won't magnetize.
Okay,
But we'll find a solution.
okay, appreciate it.
Is that it, Jim? Jimmy, thank you very much for that report. Moving on to gas. Do we have a report on gas?
Got a big report, I don't think
Okay, streets and parks.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, Mr. Villarina. The City of Cotulla street personnel utilized the walk behind solid cutting square of pavement on Rio Grande Street due to a water leak repaired by the water department, and we refilled it with cold mixed asphalt. City of Cotulla also street personnel utilized a tractor with shredder to mow grass at the Cotulla Airport and city-owned properties. We also utilized the walk behind salt to cut a square of asphalt pavement at the corner of Baylor and Medina Street and conducted a reclamation street project. Also, we're also continuing to cut the grass, trim tree limbs, and pick up miscellaneous debris on alleys so the garbage trucks can go in there and pick up the trash. That's all I have.
I have a question, Mr. Thomas.
Yes, sir.
What is this, how often do you all have safety meetings for your employees?
We have reviews in the morning, and then that includes the safety meetings also.
Okay, my question to you, do you enforce, the safety more or less to everybody?
Well, we make sure that all the safety equipment is being utilized or used.
Do we have the signage and everything that we need to
We have all the
indicate
signage
that
there.
we got
I've told
workers?
my guys that every time they do something, I want their signage being there so the citizens can know that we're working on that street.
Status on vehicles at this time? On yours?
All of them are working. We get into our locations.
Okay. That's all I have for you. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions for Mr. Thomas?
No, sir.
If not, moving on to sanitation. Mr. Martinez, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Mr. Dovalina, Mayor. My monthly report for December 2022 for the transfer station, solid waste. We had 25 trips that were taken to San Antonio, to Laredo, and one to the Meadow. We had 22 compactors for a total of 596,480 pounds of trash was picked up, which is 298.24 tons. The transfer station collected 3 containers through the month of December for 40,320 pounds, 20.16. The metal that was taken to Pearsall was 3.65 tons for the total amount of 7,300 pounds of metal was collected at the transfer station. Also, I want to just notify real quick that the new garbage truck is in use and is being utilized as needed.
How many garbage trucks we got? 3?
We got 4 now.
4 now. That's with a new one.
The new one, and then another one that was purchased like 4 years ago, and then the 2 old ones.
Councilman, any other questions for Mr. Martinez?
No, sir.
Mr. Martinez, thank you very much for that
Thank you, ma'am.
report. Thank you. Moving on to Main Street. Animal controls in the back.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Mr. Dovalina. In your report, you can find an update on projects and activities. The first one being the Christmas in the Park, our Winter Wonderland. You can find the details. A couple of things that we had were carousel rides, a carousel ride, carriages, movie in the park, hot chocolate, tamales, s'mores, cookies. And then we also had the remainder of the Santa bags. They were donated to the Winter Garden Women's Shelter to be distributed during Christmas. We do want to thank the Ensenada Police Department, LaSalle County Fire Department, and the LaSalle County Chamber of Commerce for volunteering their time and helping us. We also had the Winter Wonderland Lighted Christmas Parade. In your packet, you can find the winners: first place El Chato Restaurant, second place Documents National Bank, and third place Las Palmas Nursing Home. We also had the Downtown Winter Wonderland Business Decoration Contest. It was a joy to see the businesses bring the Front Street and Main Street to light. We had the winners, the Judge's Choice, H&R Block, and People's Choice Napa Auto Parts. We thank everybody for their efforts and their time into bringing Christmas joy to our town. We also had the LaSalle County First Responders Appreciation Luncheon held in Ensenada. Main Street and the City of Cotulla assisted in the distribution of door prize tickets and prizes. We express the appreciation for the selfless service that first responders take part in for the City of Cotulla on behalf of City of Cotulla and Cotulla Main Street. We also had the holiday ham distribution thanks to their City Council members and Mayor. 192 hams were passed out by employees from the Water and Wastewater Department, Gas Department, Main Street Department, and Street Department. We were short 8 hams that they did short us that day. They did give us the credit and everything. That's why we didn't meet the 200 hams.
200.
In your report, something that's missing is we did have the warming shelter during the freeze, and we didn't have anybody show up but 1 or 2 people just to stop by and ask questions, but it was a success because our water and wastewater departments were working in the streets and taking care of everything as soon as there was a water leak and everything was under control. So we do thank them. We also update on Stockman's Bank Phase 2. All the furnishing has arrived and has been installed, and it looks great on the 2nd floor. Further updates will come on later agendas tonight. In regards to the Cristo Rey Cemetery designation, the application was submitted to the Texas Historical Commission by Preservation Central by Terry Myers for review on December 9th, and we should be receiving a response for any revisions that need to be made. She'll receive a response to make those revisions. As far as the Plaza Florita renovations, the design plans and revisions are still underway. And then as far as the sculpture for the Florence Charles Maltzberger sculpture, we do have an image update, and if you turn back to the last page, you can go ahead and see that. They are working on, it is a standing full size of her, it's completed. Mr. Hinojosa is working on making glasses that she will be wearing. And then as far as our organization and our advisory board, at the moment we do have 3 active members that have responded and wish to continue serving on that board. We are looking for more people, and then there is a later agenda item in regards to the advisory board bylaws. As far as public information requests, the four public information requests have been completed this month, and there is 1 outstanding at the moment. Any questions or concerns for
Any
myself?
questions? I just want to say that Christmas in the Park was so beautiful. I mean, it was something different. I think the kids really enjoyed it. You know, they had a good time, a very good time. So I don't know if you guys had the chance to go over and check it out, but it was really, really nice. All those new lights that we have and everything, it just beautifies Veterans Park even more. So hopefully, let's see if you can top that next year.
I know you.
Or this
asked me
upcoming year.
During the event, I'm like, let's get through this one first.
Yes.
But I do want to thank the street department and the water department and all the departments for coming together and making that a great success. Any other questions or concerns? Thank you.
No, thank you for that report. Animal control.
Good evening, council members, Mr. Dovalina, Mayor. For the month of December, 9 dogs were picked up and placed in a shelter. One dog was adopted, 7 were rescued. I had 4 returned to the owners. 8 animals were picked up, dead animals were picked up off the street. Unfortunately, I had 15 dogs that were euthanized. A total of 2 work orders and 4 animals collected in traps. And for maintenance, the kennels and dogs were cleaned and fed daily, sanitized, and the grass was cut around the area. That's all I have.
Let me add something there. We had a surprise inspection from an official from the state, and we passed the inspection for the kennels. We had some minor issues, but we're getting them repaired.
No, everything's done. I just got to repaint everything.
So we did pass that.
Excellent.
Any questions?
Any other questions? Thank you. Last is City Administrator.
I don't have anything to report, but I did get a call on Sunday from David Wright related to the water system in Gardendale, and I authorized them to call Peerless that day to fix the well.
I know that we acted as fast as we could, and Dave, I mean, you did what you could, and once we notified Peerless, it's on their hands on how fast they get here, so thank you anyways for that. Thank you very much.
I have a couple of questions for Mr. Dovalina.
Sure.
Is there a possibility to advertise for a CDL driver? Because I know that one retired
We are.
is already posted up on the website.
We posted it and we did the free occurrence. And it's on our website.
What website is it at?
City.
It's on
our website.
Yeah, because I just looked at it earlier and there was only one position open. That's what I'm saying.
It was posted on the website. It was actually posted this week also on the city Facebook, and then it was sent to the current 2 or 3 weeks
Can y'all
ago.
send me a copy of that? Email me because I'm only seeing one on employment
Okay.
on the website that I go to on the city website.
Okay.
And, because I know that we're short a CDL driver.
We did have an applicant. We went through the process of hiring him and then he turned the job down.
I know because it makes it harder for one department because you
understand.
need it. So I was just wondering if from now on it can also put it on advertisement or on the website for any employment.
I saw the website and it had a sanitation.
That's all I saw. That's correct.
That was one, yes.
That's the only I saw.
Excellent. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Moving on to item number 6, the approval of minutes. They're not in your packet, so I asked to table this item. I need a first motion to table item number 6.
Motion.
First motion by Mr. Rodriguez. I need a second. Second by Mr. Ayala. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 7, discussion and possible action on a resolution of the City of Cotulla, Texas, expressing its support for proposed legislation authorizing the creation of a foreign trade zone, declaring a support of the local community for the legislation, declaring a public purpose, incorporating recitals, providing a repeller, providing for severability, and setting an effective date.
There is a bill that's gonna be filed by Senator Zaffarini in the legislature to create a foreign trade zone at the airport. And this is the first step in the process of creating the foreign trade zone. If it should pass, then you apply to the Department of Commerce in order to be able to get the foreign trade zone designation. And it's an effort by the city to create jobs.
Can you let the people know and the council what it's really for, sir? I mean, what else is it for, or what it entails?
What it is it creates an area where people are allowed to bring products from Mexico and sit it inside and not pay taxes until it is sold and it is driven out of the area. So what it does is it creates warehousemen, it creates a warehouse, it creates customs agents, it creates other opportunities for employment.
Excellent.
For example, it'll be like vehicles, tractors that they make from Mexico.
Tractor trailers.
And then they sit them in the territory until
They sold
sell them.
until
and
they
then
sell them.
We get a revenue out of that.
We don't get a revenue
You just-
other than the revenue that's created by the employment.
By the employment of
Correct.
hiring people.
But it brings other people to town. You can see the effect with the sales tax and with the other things that are happening. If you create a building, it creates a permit, it creates other things.
Correct.
So this is just another way to bring in new jobs other than oil field work. So I know that a lot of people are seeking other kind of jobs besides oil field. So this could be a good opportunity for our city and our citizens. Any questions on item number 7? If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 7.
So movement.
First one is by Mr. Lopez. I need a second. Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 8, presentation of financial statements by Jorge Flores. Mr. Flores.
Mayor, council members, good evening. Before we start with the financial report, I would like to introduce Mr. Ernesto Garcia III. He's the city's new accountant. He's a graduate of the University of Texas at San Antonio. And he started working for the city last week. And some of you may already know him. He is from Cotulla. And we are bombarding him with so much information. My only fear is that his brain is going to explode.
Jorge, I think he's young enough to be able to absorb all that information.
He's actually doing
We
very
would
well.
explode if we were getting that information.
He's actually doing very well. So the first report is the sales tax report. For the month of January, the city received $225,821. So that is a very good sales tax report for January. In fact, I went to look at the detail of it because it was even a little higher than I expected. And there were some audit collections and some prior period collections, but the actual monthly collections were $212,000. So it's still a very good month for sales tax.
So it's greater than the pre-pandemic thing.
It's getting better than even before the pandemic.
Great.
And this report is up to date up to January.
Up through January.
Okay.
Well, yes, we actually get the check tomorrow.
Okay.
So for the first 4 months of the year, the city has received $753,641, which is $208,062 or 38% more than last year. So sales tax is doing very well. The second report is your hotel motel tax collection. For the month of December, the city received $57,432. So for the quarter, the city received $370,034. I mean, that, if we continue this way, that's almost $1.5 million for the year.
Are there some motels that are still paying on the quarterly?
I didn't check, but by this time, just about all of them.
All of them are paid up.
So the 370,000 is also pre-pandemic number, even better than pre-pandemic number. On the next report is the statement of revenues and expenditures. The utility billings for December, since this was the first billing cycle that we had on the new software, there were a few minor issues, and we were unable to post the billings for the utilities for the month of December. So the only report I gave you is the general fund. I did not want to give you the utility billing reports because we would be comparing 2 months of revenues to 3 months of expenses. But I did look at the report. The water was like negative 6,000. That's before the billings. So once the billing comes in, it's going to be about 120,000. So the water is doing fine. The gas and the solid waste actually had positive numbers before the billing. So all three of our utilities are doing well right now. So for the general fund report, on page number 5, we have total revenues of $800,399 and total expenditures of $519,132 for net income of $281,266. So apparently I'm here to give you all good news. The finances are looking really good. And the last report is the check register. On page number 3, it has a total of $337,974. That is the total of accounts payable checks issued in the month of December. Are there any questions?
Councilman, any questions for Mr. Flores?
No, sir.
No, Mr. Flores, thank you very much for that report.
Thank you, Mayor.
Moving on to item number 9, discussion and possible action to approve the City of Cotulla Annual Financial Report for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2021, submitted by Canales Garza and Brum PLLC.
Mayor, I spoke to the auditors. It was a little short notice, and they're actually, both Juan Jose Garza and Aaron Canales are out of town. They're not in Laredo. And since the meeting is not on Zoom, I believe it's on YouTube, they couldn't even log in there, so I told them I would, if the council wants, I will present the audit report finally.
Councilman, is that okay with you guys?
That'll be fine.
Proceed, Mr. Flores.
Okay, does everyone have a copy of the audit report?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so on page number 1, on the second paragraph, this is the sentence we're looking for. It says, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities, business type activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information. When I get an audit report, that is the first thing I look for. Is it a clean report? And this is the sentence that we want to see. It's a clean report. So we turn to page number 16. Page number 16 is your statement of revenues and expenditures for your governmental type funds. So you look at the first column, the general fund. If you look towards the bottom, there is a line that says excess deficiency of revenues over under expenditures of negative 352, 649. Now, we anticipated that this number was going to be negative. We budgeted carryover funds. We were going to use funds from the prior year. But if you look at the last line, your total fund balance at the end of the year was $2,677,038, which is a very good fund balance for the general fund. Because if you look a little higher, total expenditures is $2,881,000. So having a fund balance of $2,600,000 and expenses of $2,800,000, we can cover 93% of next year's expenditures just with the fund balance that we have available. Most people like to see a fund balance of somewhere between 25 and 30%. At the end of this year, the city of Cotulla had 93% fund balance.
So we're over the.
We're in very good shape. The general fund is in very good shape. Now the next fund, the solid waste fund. The solid waste fund has been our problem child for quite a while. That one actually finishes the year with negative 1.8 million for the year. And on page number 24, on page number 24 are your business type funds, the water, the sewer, and the gas. If we look towards the bottom, the line that says changes in net assets, the water finished with negative 173, the sewer with negative 56, and the gas with negative 8,000. But also, if you look towards the middle of the page, under the operating expenses, there is a line that says depreciation. Depreciation is a non-cash outlay. We are not issuing a check to anybody, so it doesn't affect our cash. It's just it's an accounting entry, just basically stating that our infrastructure is getting older. But we did not issue, for example, the $410,000 on the water for depreciation. We didn't pay anybody $410,000. It's just an accounting entry. And actually, the deficit changes in net assets, all three of them are less than our depreciation expense. So that's actually good for our cash flow. So while we're showing negative 173, 410,000 of that was not money we dished out. So we want to see positive numbers on all of them, because the depreciation reflects that our infrastructure is getting older, and at some point we're going to have to replace it. So we want to see positive numbers, but these negative numbers are not as bad as they look because of the depreciation. So overall, it's a good audit. Are you any questions on the audit report?
I have two questions. How long have we been using Canales Garza for the audits?
I think they may have started like 14 or 15.
And I noticed that this report is from 2021 report.
Yes.
Does it take a whole year to do an audit?
No, it does not, which is why we hired Mr. Garcia. The 22 audit will be out much sooner than the 22.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions
That's
on?
what we're working on now, getting that audited, getting the information out to the auditor.
And with probably the new software probably help you.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions for Mr. Flores on the
No, sir.
audit?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. Moving on to item number 10, discussion and possible action to award the City of Cotulla Baylor Street Sidewalk Improvement Project to Cell Construction and Management LLC for a total bid amount of $159,407.50, based on a recommendation of Topside Civil Group. This is that sidewalk in front of the school,
Yes,
from Medina all the way to where the school starts.
yes.
It seems like a lot of money, but they need to do the drainage and everything as well. So that's why you see the high number. Any questions on that?
I only had one, but David already asked David for that information. The time of the bid that was on this contract, and it states there that there's only one bidder. I would like to see that it was sent out and open up to the public, whoever wants to.
It normally is printed in the newspaper, and it goes to the sites where contractors go visit to get plans. And we had about 8 contractors that actually looked at the plans that we know of, but only one contractor.
Yeah, I just requested if you can give me that information.
Okay, sure.
Appreciate that.
There's no further questions on item number 10. I seek a first motion to approve item number 10.
Aye.
First motion by Mr. Sertuche. I need a second. Second by Mr. Ayala. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 11. Discussion and possible action to approve a proposed plans submitted by Topside Civil group for Front Street striping improvements project. David, you got that?
Yes, so due to customer requests and council requests in the meeting 3 to 4 months ago, I contacted the city engineer, Jorge Martinez, and asked him if he could make a preliminary plan for us to go ahead and do restriping of Front Street, the parking areas, the handicap sections, and things like that. In your packet, you actually should have the plans there. I was hoping to have council take a look at it and see if there's any additions or anything they would like to have omitted from the plans. On the plan, the biggest aspect there is the center stripe. The center stripe is going to be moved 6 feet closer to the railroad tracks, or to the east.
Yeah, keep in mind, Councilman, that it was striped the way it is because parallel parking is on both sides of the streets. So that's what made it so narrow. That's why it seemed kind of odd to not just you guys, or the people, but also to me, because I drive through there as well. By moving it 6 feet, I believe it'll probably fix that problem. But we won't have any more parking on the other side?
Well, actually, there are going to be lines painted on the other side for parallel parking. So there'll be spots that are identified that people could park parallel on the opposite side. So, and this is going to go from Highway 97, and it'll traverse all the way to Gulf Street, and it'll end at Gulf Street. So I would like if you go ahead and take a look at it and see if there's any additions or anything that may need to be changed, and we can go ahead and add that into the project and go out for bid.
I have a question, David, on that, the striping.
Mm-hmm.
The reduction on the footage of the street. Did some of the issues have to do with the lamps that are being pulled out?
Yeah.
Towards the middle of the street?
Yeah, that and then the concrete being stubbed out to the actual parking spots.
Okay.
On the storefronts. So I don't believe that, yeah, the gas lights sit back a little more, but you have a further stub of concrete that goes out towards the middle of the street.
Okay.
Originally, it was designed for people to park head-in parking on both sides and then have a small street area to drive back and forth, which is a typical design for a downtown historic Main Street area. But being that we had a few suggestions or complaints, we're looking to change that and make it more accessible for people to drive up and down. The center line from one side to the other is going to deviate from where it is now, 5.5 feet to 6 feet over to the east of what it is. And it's going to be like that all the way down, which will give people on the storefronts with head-in parking a little more room to maneuver. If you notice in the front of the parking, you have a lot of foliage, and then you have crushed limestone. So it's hard to walk there. So people tend to walk around the back of their car to go and get up the steps or the ADA ramp or anything like that. And when they walk around the back of the car, the stripe's so close that the cars are literally passing right where they're trying to walk.
On the striping, David, is there going to be indication of crosswalks?
Indication of crosswalks. They do
from
have
one side to the other?
Yeah. Center Street and Carrizo Street, there's going to be a crosswalks. There's a question about stop signs that are currently in place because the stop sign is currently not sitting in the proper position to have a crosswalk, so we are going to have to relocate stop signs.
Okay, what about handicap accessible?
Handicap accessible, we're not changing the way it's set up right now with the handicap accessibility. It has come to me that maybe we should add some handicap parking. I would like to leave that up to the council to decide. But I will say where the handicap parking is the only place we have an ADA ramp to gain access up to the storefront. So, but there was a concern that maybe on the other side between 97 and Center that maybe we should have some more handicap parking.
Right.
But if you go and look at it, you don't have no accessibility as far as a ramp or anything on that side. So I would like to leave that decision to y'all.
Okay.
It's a good idea, like Mr. Lopez saying, that to implement the handicap sections for the business where the stairways going to every business there is there. Have to have access for them. And also, when this company goes ahead and does the striping, I prefer them to do it like on a Monday through Friday, not on weekends, especially because we need somebody to inspect them at that site, because if not, it's going to come up to the same ordeal again what we have now. I know there's a lot of complaints towards that striping and all that, and I don't know if people have been getting citations for that or not, but
That is what sparked one complaint, is that we had a sheriff deputy ask somebody to move their car from the opposite side, which was part of parallel, because the deputy explained that that was not a parking spot. So my rebuttal to that is, well, there's no parking signs, and it is a parking spot, you know. But I think personally, I feel we just need to have clarification with lines on the ground so everybody can understand that and see that.
correct. And I'm seeing the maps and the plans here, and it's a good sketch, and I'm for it. Just implement the handicap on it.
One other thing is probably going to, I'll bring to council also for agreeance, but I've asked Mr. Martinez, as far as paint material, to have something a little better than we had the first time.
Yes, sir.
Current material out there, I think, lasts a year and a half, and it's already faded. And
There is a material that I know TxDOT uses that you add a glass beads.
glass bead to the top.
Glass
right?
beads, because it reflects during the night, and it's a little bit costly, but it lasts at least 5-6 years.
Right. We won't have to do it
Correct.
every year or every
Correct.
other year. So.
But they do. There is material out there. Is very
Okay.
good.
Very good. So
David,
yes, sir.
I have
Sure.
a question for you. Would we have to notify the Historic Commission
No,
to do ramps for the handicap?
no, the handicap ramps are required by TDLR.
Excellent.
And so when they first did the sidewalk design, all of that approval was done by TDLR, and they gave us the approval of where to put the handicap ramps. And since we had a lot of traffic at City Hall, we put the ramp there. But if there's another location that has a ramp and we're able to relocate some handicap parking, we'll try to do that.
Yeah, it doesn't really have to be a ramp for a handicap. It just give it access for a handicapped person to be close to a stairway going up, and that's my opinion. I don't know. It could be different.
That is
Yeah, you
not
gotta
the
get-
case. If you put a handicap ramp and you make it accessible, the sidewalk has to be
Accessible
accessible.
as well.
You can't just put up a sign and not do any improvement. You have to do the improvement.
But in that case, Mr.
Maybe we
Dolina,
could-
would it have to go to the historical or no?
No,
No.
Okay.
it's a different agency.
Okay.
Okay, so is there any suggestions from the council of anything they'd like to see different, or are we okay to proceed with as designed or as proposed?
I don't know on the little islands that come up with those. Can that sections be painted yellow or something? Because when they come on 97 and turn into Front Street, okay, because some
right.
people may not see that.
That's
Sure.
right.
Yeah.
Well, once they do the restriping, I don't think that's gonna be an issue anymore, because the center stripe is being moved 6 feet, but we can still probably paint them anyways.
It'd probably be just the first one when they make that turn.
Yeah.
It'd be safer.
Yeah.
Correct. Appreciate it.
All right, if there's no further questions for Mr. Wright, I seek a first motion to approve item number 11.
Aye.
A motion.
First motion by Mr. Sertuche, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 12, discussion and possible action on an authorization to issue request for proposals for administrative services and request for qualifications for engineering services for the Texas Community Development Block Grant Program Fund administered by Texas Department of Agriculture.
This is a requirement that they have of us when we do the procurement using federal funds, so we have to do the RFQ for engineering services. It means we're gonna probably get a grant.
Okay.
Excellent. keep in mind that this is how we've been doing our projects. You know, we've been trying to get lots of grants for whatever the project is. If there's grants, we usually try and go get those grants so we can save our taxpayers some money. So grants really do help us out a lot. So on item number 12, I seek a first motion to approve item number 12.
Aye.
First motion by Mr. Sertucci, I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ayala. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 13, discussion and possible action to award professional services contract for the hazardous mitigation plan project to be funded by TDEM.
Actually, it's gonna be funded by FEMA. And the reason that we're being asked to fund the hazard mitigation plan is that the current plan has expired. And in order for the Texas Department of Emergency Management to give us the grant, we have a year's time to have the hazard mitigation plan completed so that it's current. And this is where we're trying to get the money for the generators, and we're trying to get a grant from Texas Department of Emergency Management.
What is the amount of the application, sir, at this time? On the generator, the amount that
The
the
amount,
city is seeking?
David?
$2.1 million. And then you have a secondary grant through FEDM for the hazardous mitigation plan at $75,000.
Those generators gonna be running with natural gas?
No, they're gonna be diesel.
Diesel.
It was too costly to do natural gas because of the extension of the line, insufficient size to power up the unit.
How many generators are we talking about?
Two.
Councilman, any other questions on item number 13?
No, sir.
If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 15, number 13. First motion by Mr. Lopez, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 14, discussion and possible action to approve the sale and purchase agreement between the Catholic Diocese of Laredo and the City of Cotulla, Texas, in the amount of $245,000.
This is a historic preservation plan. The diocese has agreed to sell to the city Guadalupe Hall. The plaza itself and the well housing is now a National Historic Landmark. The money that is being used for this purpose cannot be used for normal operations. It's a restricted fund, and it is defined as to how it can be used by the hotel motel tax of the state of Texas. So we're following state law, and we're only using this money. This money can't be used for water. This money can't be used to pave streets. It can't be used for any other general purpose. It has to be specified in the law as to what it can be used for. Many people see that and they say, oh, you have a lot of money. But you don't really have a lot of money because you can't use it anywhere. You can only use it in certain places. So the whole idea, you have a historic national landmark. You have a historic national landmark in the school. As soon as we acquire the property, we will apply for National Historic for the hall, and then we'll have the bathrooms and the statue immediately adjacent to it so that you can have historic tourism come to the city to see how the city was many years ago and how the segregated school that President Lyndon Johnson taught in is still there.
So this is pretty big, guys. It's a national landmark, so this is excellent. If there's no further questions or discussion on item number 14, I seek a first motion to approve item number 14. First motion by Mr. Ayala, I need a second.
Motion.
Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 15, discussion and possible action to approve the renovation of the Cotulla Main Street Program by law.
Many years ago, when we started Main Street, the program itself has to create an advisory board. The advisory board was unaware that the city council had adopted the bylaws. So in doing research, we realized that the advisory committee took it upon themselves to make revisions to the bylaws. Some of them are simple grammatical mistakes which can be corrected, but there were others that were substantive. An advisory committee of the city cannot take it upon themselves to make any changes. So this puts back everything that was there in place at the beginning, with the exception of the grammatical corrections. We ask for your approval.
So moved.
I seek a first motion to approve item number 15. First motion was made by Mr. Lopez. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ayala. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 16. Discussion and possible action to replat lots 5, 6, and 7, Block 16, Cotulla Business Park into lots 5A, 6A, and 7A, Block 16, Cotulla Business Park.
Where is this location?
This is the dialysis center.
Here on Baker Street?
And the county is asking to do the replat, and they have submitted the necessary paperwork to make that happen.
It's on Baker Street, right?
Yes.
Councilman, any questions on item number 16? If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 16.
A motion.
First motion by Mr. Rodriguez. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lopez. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 17. Discussion and possible action to enter into a lease agreement between Verdum Oil Company and the City of Cotulla to lease the following: lots 15A-4, AB 1051 Laxton Jesse SV-15, property ID 11695 or .690 acres.
This is a request to lease the mineral rights on these properties, and the document was prepared by Steve.
Where is this location, if you don't mind me asking?
It was on Front Street.
Without looking at the map.
There's a little map in your packet, because that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Look at Tidman Street, Main Street.
So it says Front Street here, and then this is lot 15A.
It's, I think it's where the old fire station used to be.
Yeah.
It's on Front Street.
Front Street. Now, this money would be would be placed into the general fund?
Correct.
Okay. Councilman, if there's no further questions, I seek a first motion to approve item number 17.
Aye.
First motion by Mr. Sertucci, I need a second. Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 18. Discussion and possible action on a request submitted by Cotulla High School class of 2024, asking for permission to use the Alexander Convention Center with the fee waived on Saturday, May 13th, 2023, to host their junior-senior prom.
This has traditionally been a motion that comes before you every year, so you voted in favor of it time and again.
So if there's no further discussion on item number 18, I seek a first motion to approve item number 18. First by Mr. Ayala, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 19, discussion and possible action to a contractor's application payment number 16 submitted by Briscoe Architectural Conservation in the amount of $27,000 for Stockman's Bank Phase 2.
This is a request, they're nearing completion of their work, and so they're requesting this payment. It leaves $10,000 to finalize the ends and problems that they may have in the future.
Yeah, Councilman, if you haven't had a chance to see the Stockman's building, you should go take a look at it. It's real nice now. It's coming along just fine, so if there's no questions on item number 15, I seek a first motion to approve item number 19.
On the 27, this payment is for what services on the building?
It's for mechanical, lighting, air conditioning,
Would there be
plumbing.
would there be an additional payout after this one?
Yes.
Okay.
No further discussions on item number 19. I seek a first motion to approve item number 19. First by Mr. Rodriguez, I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lopez. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Discussion and possible action to amend the budget to transfer funds into Main Street from general fund.
We ask that this be tabled.
Table?
Yes.
We're going to table item number 20. I need a first motion to table item number 20.
So movement.
First by Mr. Lopez, I need a second. Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 21. Report on City of Cotulla floodplain map revision from Federal Emergency Management Agency.
We received a letter where we requested a revision to the flood insurance rate map, and we were able to take out about 400 and some odd properties out of the floodplain map, which reduces the cost of floodplain insurance for homeowners. And usually if you do a mortgage with a new house, it runs you about $4,000 to get that. The FEMA regional office is accepting the floodplain map revision. You can read it for yourselves. And they have a 30-day comment period that started when we received the letter, and I think the 30-day comment period is up, so you will see the letter of map revision go forward. This is a matter of information, it's not for action.
Yeah, this is just a report. No action needed. But Councilman, do you have any questions on item number 21?
No, sir.
Thank you very much for that. Moving on to item number 22, closed session. Texas Government Code and Section 551.071, consultation with attorney. Deliberation about real property. A, Gardendale Water Corporation. B, Stockman's National Bank Historic renovations. C, the Catholic Diocese of Laredo. It is now 8:24, and we are now going into on your cue. All right, everybody, welcome back to open session now. It is now 8:59. Action in closed session on letter A, which is Gardendale Water Corporation. Mr. Garcia, could you read?
Yeah, we have a motion. I move that the City of Cotulla immediately cease all arrangements with the Gardendale Water Supply Corporation and the water system within the Gardendale community, ratify prior actions by city staff relating to the cessation of services to Gardendale.
But we do leave it open to the members of the water system of Gardendale to come forth to see what is the final word, or if they want to do anything else, that they bring something to the table. We are just exercising what the agreement was, and we want to help more, but now the ball is on the court members of the water board of Gardendale now to see what they want to do. If they want to make the change of identity to us, or if they still want to keep it. So I have a first motion to terminate. I need a second motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ayala. All in favor say aye.
I abstain. One abstention.
All opposed say nay. I got one abstain with Mr. Lopez.
In the condition that we can work something out with.
And this termination of, or walking away from this contract is just because we still want to leave it open to see what the board wants to do, what your board wants to do. So if they have a new plan, we would like to hear it. Our doors are open, and we do want to help. You are the suburb of Gardendale is our neighbor, and we need to take care of each other. So all we're trying to do here is do things right. So if there's something else that the water board of Gardendale wants to do, our doors are open to you guys. So thank you all for coming in. Moving on to item B. On the Stockman's National Bank historic renovations, Briscoe Architects Conservation is entitled to a change order. So we need to do a change order for $25,000. So I seek a first motion to approve the change order. First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Zertuche. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Letter C, Catholic Diocese of Laredo. No action was needed. No action was taken on that. So I'd like to say thank you all for coming in. The decision of the council for walking away from the water system or water development water system of Gardendale was not an easy decision for our council, or for me, or for any of us that are here. We only did what we did because that's what was on the contract, and we're still here to help, and our doors will be open for any suggestions or any future planning on their part. So, last and final, if there's anything else on before I adjourn, if any of the councilmen want to say something, now's the time. If not,
Mayor, I was approached by the Chamber of Commerce. They want to do it's a traditional that they're starting a cafecito, which is getting together with community members, community business sector together, and they're trying to facilitate a cafecito session at the City Hall with the permission, of course, of the council and the city administrator, if it's permitted.
do we have to bring something like that to council
That's for the month of February, sir.
Oh, for the month of February,
Yes,
so
Yes, sir.
is there a particular date already set?
You can't,
No.
you can't bring the item up because it's not on the agenda, so you can't approve it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that if the date permits us, well, our meeting is on the second Thursday of
I could
every
possibly put
every
it on
month.
the agenda for.
So if they pick out a later date, that they
Okay.
would bring it to the
Okay.
to the council,
That's fine.
so we can vote on it.
That's fine.
All right. At this time, it is now.
I got one
Yes,
more question.
Mr. Ayala.
Before we finish this meeting, I want for Mr. Dovalina, like we were talking about earlier in closed session, regarding the Gardendale water, how it came out and how it was, how it was done. Can you explain to us, Mr. Dovalina?
The Gardendale water supply was originally led by a man named Bere Lopez, who approached the mayor and I and the county judge asking us to take over the system.
By the way, this was in 2013.
And then we had an employee who is now who used to be also a member of their board, who approached us and asked if we would help them out because they were having problems getting an operator for the system. And then we brought it to council. We did not at any point solicit their business. They in turn solicited our help. And the community needs to understand that the action taken was taken by them for us to help them, not the other way around. As soon as the pump went down, David called me on Sunday. We immediately got a man working on it. But it is a problem that is destined to be in the future recurring because they only have one well. So every time that well breaks, they're going to be out of water. This is like a colonia. They pay minimal fees and they're in a way expecting to be the recipients of grants and other items that cost no money to them. You as county taxpayers and of course as city taxpayers are going to have to foot the bill in the future if that is your wish. But the initial solicitation came from them, not from us. And it is not my intent to go after something that is not sustainable.
I know that an individual that came and spoke in behalf of Gardendale, people is not a board member, accusing that the city of Cotulla didn't notify the residents of Gardendale of the issue that we're having, which in 2022, our attorney, Steve Pena, contacted by email their attorney, Steve Hall, and the response back on the attorney of Steve Hall was, I will get with my clients, which I believe those clients are the board members
The water
of the
boards,
Gardendale water board. So somewhere in there, they dropped the ball in not notifying the residents of Gardendale. It wasn't the problem of the Cotulla City Hall or the city administration to let the city people know about it, in Gardendale, correction. So the city of Cotulla had no fault on not, notifying those people in Gardendale.
Obviously, there was a lack of communication.
Lack of communication.
And we're seeing the result, and it's rather tragic that we get to this point in time.
And that's why I wanted to clear it by Mr. Dovalina, city manager, what was the real outcome of this situation. You know, it's not like the way, you know, that individual expressed herself to that City of Cotulla dropped the ball. City of Cotulla was just helping them. And you have to understand that $32,000 a year in revenue of water is not going to fix a $40-something thousand you know, problem that we have in working with Gardendale.
Plus, don't forget to mention the 44,000 that goes on in operating the system yearly.
And that's money that the city of Cotulla gave or put up to help out the city of Gardendale, or the little community of Gardendale.
So what the city did, the city of Cotulla undertook of releasing funds for city business, for city, you know, cost, to help a community, an adjacent community, to support themselves, okay, to help them, help the public. The deal is, we have to carry that burden as council members and as real representatives of the city's taxpayers. My question to Gardendale is, if something happens to the board members or to the council administration here, that all of a sudden we get an outburst of the citizens of Cotulla, we have to carry that burden ourselves for taking in our own hands or giving the administration the authorization as to help out. So we're going to end up, in the eyes of the taxpayers for Cotulla, they're going to pull a bullseye on us, okay, for being good natured, being a good neighbor.
Yeah, all we really try to do is help them out and operate the system, and thinking that their water system committee was going to give us the water system so we can continue helping the citizens of Gardendale. I believe at one time we even talked about probably adding on a trash pickup to their recipients. Unfortunately, we didn't even get that far. And for trying to do a good deed, we get thrown under the bus, you know, and I feel that that's not the right thanks that we should be getting or receiving. But nevertheless, I feel I feel for the citizens of Gardendale. They were not ever notified of what the problem was going on or that our contract was being terminated. Their attorney did not relate any of the messages or conversations that he had with our attorney, you know, back to his to the board of the water Gardendale board. They didn't relate to them, any of them. So I can see where all these people were left in the dark, and it is unfair to them. And because of that, now we are the ones looking bad, even though we fixed their problem and fixed their pump. The perspective that these recipients of Gardendale have is that we're the bad guys. And I truly believe that we are the good guys here, and all we were always trying to do is help that little community. And our doors are open. I do hope that their board members come up with a plan, and hopefully we can get together and see what kind of outcome it would be. So that's all we were trying to do. And it's very unfortunate that the citizens of Gardendale were not notified. And for that, you know, we're truly sorry, but no little suburb, no people should be left without water, you know, and this is why we took the initiative on fixing that water well.
Mayor, I'm sorry. Patrick Lindner, legal counsel for the city of Cotulla this evening. Regarding the communications that Gardendale's attorney may have had, we're not privy to what he said or who he said to. But we do know that a person spoke in public comment saying that she was a member of the Gardendale board and that they had no notice. And so that's what we're relying upon when, you know, there was some type of miscommunication. But
That's
we
right.
really don't know the details of who and what and when.
That is very true.
The good thing is that they got water.
The good thing is that the outcome for them is that they got a new pump, they got water, and hopefully they will continue to have water. Councilman, anything you guys want to say? Any other things? If not, thank you all for coming. This meeting is adjourned. It is now 9:15.